We now turn our attention to boxing and the upcoming heavyweight fight scheduled for this Saturday, the 26th of October 2019. It's Dereck Chisora versus David Price. Was originally scheduled as Chisora versus Parker, but Parker has pulled out. I think it's due to injury or something along those lines, and so it's been rescheduled as Chisora versus Price. It's an interesting fight. It's going to get a lot of interest in this country. In the UK, a lot of supporters for Chisora. Price has a lot of fans. Price is always in entertaining fights. Chisora has been in a lot of entertaining fights in his career. They both had a fair few losses on their records. So we've got Price 25, 6 and 0. So 25 wins, 6 losses. Chisora 31, 9 and 0. So 31 wins, 9 losses. So yeah, there's a fair few losses on their records, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on what they bring to fights. Chisora brings his work rate. He's now been working with David Haye for a while. David Haye's worked on his fitness, so his fitness is good now. He's always been a durable guy. He's always been able to take punches, and he's always been able to dole out a fair bit of punishment himself. Price has had a few setbacks in his career, but he's coming off a victory over Dave Allen, and that's given him another boost in his career. He has had a problem in his career with gassing out, getting tired and fading during the mid rounds, but he looked pretty solid against Dave Allen. I don't want to go as far as to say, at this stage of his career, I don't want to go as far as to say that his fitness has improved and he's found another level of endurance which he didn't have earlier on in his career. I don't think that's the case. I think it might be a one-off, that more durable performance against Allen. And the bookies think that as well, because if we turn to the bookies' betting odds at the moment, the best price is Dereck Chisora at 2-7, short price favourite. The draw is 40-1, price 16-5. So just over 3-1 for Price, and Chisora a very short 2-7. So the bookies obviously feel that Chisora has the edge. I'm not going to disagree with them. I think Chisora's got the work rate. He's had a new lease of life since being with Haye. Got knocked out by Dillian Whyte in the second fight he had with Whyte, but he put on a reasonable show. Got knocked out in the 10th round. Got to the 10th round though with Dillian Whyte, who's considered to be an elite performer these days. He's certainly a top 10 heavyweight. So that was an impressive performance. Yes, Price got past Allen recently, but Allen is not a top 10 heavyweight in the world. He's a durable fighter. He's a decent enough fighter at sort of British or even European level, but he's not really a world level performer. Chisora in recent fights has put on a decent show in 2 fights against Dillian Whyte, and he's also knocked out Carlos Takam not that long ago. Carlos Takam is a respected, durable, solid sort of top 15 to top 20 heavyweight. He's been in there with Anthony Joshua, put on a good show before the fight. Was stopped in the 10th round of Anthony Joshua. Some people thought that was a early stoppage. He could have probably gone on further being a durable fighter, but following that fight of Joshua, Chisora knocked him out. I think Price could easily win this match if he was able to stick to a game plan. Price is a much taller man. He's got a much bigger reach. If he was able to keep Chisora on the end of his jab for the duration of the fight and inflict damage on Chisora from distance, he'd be able to win this fairly easily if he was able to stick to a game plan. If we look at Chisora's history, he's got losses against the likes of Kubrat Pulev, 2 losses to Tyson Fury. He's lost to Robert Helenius as well. So these are tall, defensive-minded fighters who stick to a strategy. Tyson Fury, he put safety first. He used to insult Vladimir Klitschko for being pretty defensive, but Fury himself is pretty careful with his approach. He doesn't try and take any undue risks, and he tries to use his height. He tries to keep his opponents on the end of the jab, particularly if they're shorter than him, and they usually are. And if Price was able to stick to that sort of plan, like Pulev does as well, he's defensive, uses the jab a lot, doesn't take too many chances, and if Price was able to do that and implement a game plan, he'd have a very good chance in the fight, but I just don't see him doing that. The problem is he's got to beat Chisora's work rate. Chisora has an impressive work rate. He throws a lot of punches to the body. He's pretty easy to work out. He comes forward with a peekaboo defence, marches forward, with his forearms up over his head, and tries to get in on the inside and throw some lethal punches on the inside, land some shots to the body, some uppercuts. And I think Chisora's going to come in with the mentality that he's going to be able to walk through Price. He said that to a number of his opponents. He said it to Dillian Whyte in the rematch they had. He said he's going to walk through him, he's going to run through him. And he will think he'll be able to do that. If Price doesn't dole out a decent enough work rate, Chisora will get to him. And if he gets on the inside and starts doing damage, Price is not known for his stamina. So if he lets Chisora come in, do his work, take a breather, and then come back at him again, marching forward with his peekaboo defence, Price doesn't keep him on the end of a jab to keep him at bay, which he hasn't really done that often in his fights. So I can't really assume that he was going to do that now. But that option is there. That's the way he wins the fight. If Price does do that, he'll have a chance. Obviously, he's got a lot of power. He's a hugely powerful puncher. You can always, get a one-off shot, a big shot on Chisora and put him down. But Chisora's very durable. So I'm not sure it's going to be one big shot. He'd probably need a few. And I just think the work rate of Chisora, throwing punches to the body, being smart, and also just the attitude. In a way, Chisora in his mind, he'll feel as though he should be winning this fight. And it's a fight that, if he thought he could beat Parker, he'll feel that he should certainly be beating Price. And it's a big opportunity for him. If we want to talk about value, Chisora at 2-7, I don't think that presents any much value, really. Chisora is the rightful favourite. But, what are we talking about? It should be more like 1-4, somewhere between 1-3 and 1-4. He's 2-7, so you can chuck that as an accumulator, to bulk up your odds on an accumulator bet, but it doesn't present much value standing alone. Price at 16-5, just above 3-1. It's not a bad price, but it's not. It doesn't. You'd want to be getting Price at sort of 4-1, 9-2. It's 16-5 here, so I don't think that's value either. But I'm sure some people will look at it and say, look, he's just beaten out Allen. He's a powerful puncher. Price can beat anyone if he lands his right hand on the chin clean. So people might look at that and say it's value. I don't think it is. If we want to look for value, I think we've probably got to look at the round betting, the grouped round betting. I think this fight will sort of end in the middle rounds, probably with a Chisora win by TKO as Price gasses. I did just think of the shot Chisora finished Takam off, but I'm not sure. He's not known for regularly pulling off them type of knockout victories. So I'm going to stick with it being a TKO where Price gasses, Chisora coming on strong, still showing fitness in the middle round. So sort of somewhere between rounds 5 to 8, I'd expect David Price to succumb. And that's not just me making things up. If we look at his history, there's evidence for that. David Price, he gassed out twice against Tony Thompson. Tony Thompson came over here and inflicted the first defeat on David Price of his professional career. Price was a short favourite in that fight, but Tony Thompson just got at him. Price failed to keep him at bay on the end, using the jab, using his reach. And Tony Thompson, who's not particularly powerful, but was able to land so many shots that they sort of accumulated. Price gassed, and 2 losses to Tony Thompson. Sergei Kuzmin, I think he retired in the corner, saying he had some sort of injury, but I also think fatigue played a part in that as well. So he obviously tired there. Christian Hammer sort of creeped up on David Price around the middle rounds. Price tired out again. Hammer got the job done. So it's happened a couple of times in his career that Price has gassed in the middle rounds. And someone relentless like Chisora stays on his opponents, and he's getting success. He keeps burrowing away with shots to the midriff. And I think he'll do some damage to Price, and those will show around rounds 5 to 8. Chisora victory rounds 5 to 8 is valued at 5-2. That's the best price. Either fighter to win in rounds 5 to 8 is at 13 to 8. I'd probably just stick with Chisora rounds 5 to 8 at 5-2. I think that's a reasonable price. That's one I'll be looking to take. Chisora rounds 5 to 8 at 5-2. On the outright market, I've just chucked Chisora at 2-7 into an accumulator. Not huge value, but the way the odds are placed, it's a question of you just selecting who you think will win. There's no value on the outright market. But in the search for value, I found Chisora rounds 5 to 8 at 5-2. That's what I'll go for. Please give any comments. I mean, I know there's going to be people that are going to disagree with me because there's a lot of David Price fans around, and there is an argument for ways in which he will win. I mean, I've said them. He could win, keep Chisora on the end of a jab, stick to a game plan, which he's never really done before. He's kind of done it against Dave Allen. But I don't think keeping Dereck Chisora at bay is a much more difficult task than keeping Dave Allen at bay. So I think he'll be up against it. I think Chisora's pumped up for this. He was ready for Parker, who was ready to make a statement. Parker fight's not happening. He was a bit annoyed that he wasn't the main event. Obviously, we've got Regis Prograis, and against Josh Taylor. I mean, that's a fantastic main event, but Chisora wasn't happy that he felt he was undercarding to them and should have been a co-main. Well, now it's Chisora and Price. That will be undercarding for Prograis Taylor. So there's fire in his belly. I think he still thinks there's a little bit more to offer boxing. Hayes given him a new lease of life. He thinks he can go on and get some other big money fights. I notice he's been looking past the likes of Joyce and Dubois. The young lions coming up wanting to make a name for themselves. Well, Dubois certainly young lion. Joyce is in his 30s now, so maybe, but new on the scene is what I meant. So I think both fighters, both Price and Chisora, have rebuffed offers to fight Joyce and Dubois, but I just think the risk reward isn't there for them. They're being offered money, and they don't think that it's the money they're being offered is worth the potential loss that they would get against a Dubois on Joyce, which could potentially end their career. Or, I mean, they've both got a fair few losses. Price 6 losses, Chisora 9 losses, but they're on a similar level. Each could make a statement with a big victory in this one. I'm going to go for Chisora on the outright at 2-7, useful in an accumulator. And then looking for value, I'm going to go for Chisora in rounds 5 to 8 at 5-2. Please give your comments, letting us know where you think it will go. Enjoy the fight, and I'll see you next time.